More options do not make you happier. More options make you less likely to choose anything and less satisfied when you do. And there's rigorous science behind every part of that sentence. You've been there. Standing in a supermarket aisle for 4 minutes deciding between 17 varieties of the same product. Scrolling Netflix for 45 minutes, choosing nothing, going to bed vaguely disappointed. Ordering the thing you always get at a restaurant because the menu was too long and the pressure to choose perfectly was too high. This isn't indecisiveness. This isn't a personality flaw. This is a documented, predictable psychological response to having too many options. And it's getting worse as the number of choices in every domain of life continues to multiply. The paradox of choice is the psychological phenomenon where having more options leads to worse decisions, lower satisfaction, and greater anxiety, rather than the freedom and happiness that more choice is supposed to deliver. Psychologist Barry Schwartz popularized the concept in his 2004 book of the same name, building on research he'd conducted with Mark Lepper and Sheena Iyengar. The central finding: beyond a certain number of options, additional choice stops being liberating and becomes paralyzing. More options means more cognitive load, higher expectations, greater fear of making the wrong choice, and stronger regret after any decision, because you're now aware of everything you didn't pick. In 2000, psychologists Iyengar and Lepper set up a tasting booth in an upscale grocery store. On some days, they offered 24 varieties of jam. On other days, they offered 6. The larger display attracted more interest. About 60% of shoppers stopped to taste. The smaller display attracted fewer browsers, about 40%. But here's what happened at the cash register. Of the people who stopped at the 24 jam display, 3% bought a jar. Of the people who stopped at the 6 jam display, 30% bought a jar. 10 times more purchases from the smaller selection. The choice overload had done 2 things. It paralyzed decision-making, and it reduced satisfaction. When there are 24 options, the standard against which you evaluate your choice is all 24 of them. The moment you pick one, part of your brain is already second-guessing it against the 23 you didn't try. When there are 6, the evaluation is simpler, the decision is easier, and the post-decision regret is lower. Schwartz identified several specific mechanisms through which excessive choice causes harm. First, decision paralysis, the difficulty of choosing at all when there are too many options. Second, escalating expectations. The more options are available, the higher your expectations of the one you choose, making disappointment more likely. Third, anticipated regret. Before you even choose, you're mentally rehearsing how bad you'll feel if this isn't the best one. Fourth, self-blame. In a world with no options, a bad outcome isn't your fault. In a world with infinite options, if you're unhappy, you must have chosen wrong. This last one is particularly damaging. A depressed person in a low-choice environment knows that depression isn't a product of bad decisions. A depressed person surrounded by infinite lifestyle, career, relationship, and identity options is left wondering why. With all these choices, they haven't figured out how to be happy. The abundance of choice converts suffering into personal failure. Schwartz identified 2 types of decision makers. Maximisers need to make the best possible choice. They research exhaustively, compare obsessively, and still feel uncertain after deciding. Satisficers decide based on good enough criteria. They look for an option that meets their threshold and take it, without agonizing over what else might exist. Satisficers consistently report higher levels of happiness and lower levels of regret, depression, and decision anxiety, despite often making technically inferior choices. The practical implication: deliberate satisficing is a skill. You can set criteria in advance. I'll eat at the first restaurant in this area with at least 4 stars and a free table, and commit to the result, rather than optimizing endlessly. Constraints that feel limiting often produce more satisfaction than unlimited freedom. Freedom to choose was supposed to be the good life, and it is up to a point. Beyond that point, every additional option adds cognitive cost, increases expectations, amplifies regret, and shifts blame inward when things go wrong. The goal isn't fewer choices, it's developing the wisdom to know when you've found something good enough and the courage to stop looking. That's not settling. That's the psychology of contentment. Drop a comment. What's one area of your life where you'd genuinely be happier with fewer options? I want to compare answers. Subscribe for more psychology that changes how you make decisions.